Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Horizon Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Jamie Pease, and I will be your server today. Wait, sorry, I'm not. Flashbacks of my waiting tables day. Sorry, that's not what we're doing. I will be your worship associate. My pronouns are she, her. We're excited to welcome you to our worship service this morning, and we're so glad to have you with us today. Whether you're joining us in person or virtually, whether you're here for the first time or whether you've been here longer than you can remember, here at Horizon, we welcome people of all faiths and of no faith at all, or of no faith in particular. I read that right. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are in your journey, you're welcome among us. As a community, we also welcome the sharing of joys and sorrows and concerns. You're welcome to fill out a slip on the table near the Welcome Center, in the pockets of your chairs, or at the table here in front of the sanctuary. Or you're welcome to light a candle. This can be done at any time before service or in service from the beginning through the Offertory. Just a couple of announcements. First, I wanted to say a big thank you from the Women's Retreat Committee. If you don't know, our service project this year was creating hygiene bags for Genesis Women's Shelter. And because of all of the donations from you guys, we were able to make around between 40 and 50 bags of feminine hygiene products and bags of like shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste, toothbrush, all that. So just big thank you for that. We really appreciate it. You guys helped so much. And then we have one other announcement. Alan will be up here.
I'll give you a few seconds to laugh. So this year, Horizon, for one of our fundraisers, is doing a pumpkin patch. And it will be right out next to the office door. And it starts tomorrow. It runs from Monday through Saturday for 2 weeks from 11:30 in the morning till 7:30 at night. So please come by and buy a pumpkin. If you have time to volunteer, I have a clipboard so you know it's official. To sign up if you haven't signed up online. Otherwise, we can tell you how to sign up online. And then the third thing to do is tell your friends, tell your family, tell anybody in the area to come to Horizon at one of those times and purchase a pumpkin. We have regular pumpkins, and we have very fancy white pumpkins and all kinds of other pumpkins that you can get. Thank you very much.
Our call to worship this morning is from Sharon Wiley. It is said that ministers are here to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. I say we're all afflicted and we're all comfortable. May our time together this morning be a comfort and a confrontation. May we here find peace in times of tumult. May we here invite tumult into lives of peace. May we here find calm in times of restlessness. May we here allow restlessness to evolve into action. Let this be a place you consider what you've never considered. Let this be the place you imagine for yourself, something new and unthinkable. May this hour bring dreams of new ways of being in the world. Come, let us worship together.
Our chalice lighting this morning is from William M. Fuchs. May the light of truth illuminate our minds. May the spark of love set our hearts on fire. May the flame of freedom burn brightly within us, now and always. Please join me in our affirmation, which is printed on the back of your order of service and projected on the screen. Love is the doctrine of our church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in harmony with the earth. Thus do we covenant together. I invite you to rise in body and spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn, number 170 in the gray hymnal, "We Are a Gentle, Angry People."
We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are queer and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are queer and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives.
Each Sunday, you're asked to bring shelf-stable foods and personal care items for MetroQuest to church on Sunday. Oh, well, each Sunday you're supposed to do it on Sunday. If you have donations today, please hand them to those coming up for Time for All Ages to place in the basket for MetroQuest. At this time, I'd like to invite all our young people and the young at heart to the seats in front of the chancel or up on this little platform if you want, so you can take part in our little talk this morning. Thank you. This is a pine cone. This is, no, it's an acorn. They all look funny. This is an acorn without its hat on because the hat just fell off. But you can't quite hear it. Well, now you can. Oh, no! Ha ha! I know. You know what this is for? It's so that it's coming from the tree. It's hanging from the tree. And this is like the way to hold it onto the tree. And then when it's time for the acorn to fall, the whole thing falls off. And then this is a seed that makes, do you know what acorns make? What? What kind, do you know? It's an old-timey saying called, "From little acorns, mighty oaks come." They make an oak tree. I have, so that's what we're going to talk about mostly, but I brought more props. So this is a pine cone, but does this look like a seed to you? No. No way. It's too big, right? That's because, dude, these are pine nuts. These are the little nuts that are inside a pine cone that you wouldn't even know were there. They're hidden in there. And then I brought another one. Does anybody know what these are? Yes, they are. But do they look like bug wings or maybe helicopters? They're from maple trees, and they fall down like helicopters. So if you can see this, oh well, they spin. So they come from the tree and they spin like that. And my grandparents had a tree like this when I was growing up, and we would play with these silly seeds all day long. Because if they fell, they'd come apart. Even if they came apart and it's just one of them, they'd spin like a helicopter. So we'd pick them up, throw them in the air so they could spin all day long. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but that was lots of fun. But those are the seeds. And these go far because they're, like little helicopters that drift in the wind. And they go all over the place. No, they didn't have helicopters then. But it's a helicopter effect. That could be how they thought of helicopters, that's right. Because they do look like it. Or kind of like whirlybird things. They're cool. They're the coolest seeds. That's all I'm going to say about that, because they're very cool. Okay, so it's hard to believe that this little acorn can make a big tree, but it can. Just like any of these other seeds. Any seeds you think of, like an orange seed or an apple seed, they make a tree, right? Eventually. If they fall in the right place. Like an oak tree can be 50 or 60 feet tall. That is top of the ceiling. That's pretty tall. That's pretty cool. Little bitty seed, gigantic tree, but it takes a long time. Now, trees don't start out tall and mighty. Conditions have to be just right. Conditions, do you know what that means? Weather is the first condition, you're right. But it's also food. They get their nutrients, that's like vitamins, kind of, but their food from the soil. If it's bad soil, they don't grow, right? So what do you think would happen if we planted one of these seeds in the parking lot?
It will not grow.
Very good, John, that's very good. It would not grow, right? There's nothing there to help it. It doesn't, it's like rocks? I mean, no. Unless there's a crack, but it'll never become a tree, right? It'll just be this little sad-looking, sick little green thing for a little bit, and then it'll probably get mowed or something. But people are just like that. Seeds need water, sunlight, good soil, and weather, right? They need the right temperature. If it's too sunny, not so good. If it's too dark, not so good, right? They need sun. And trees are so much like us. They need certain conditions to be happy and thrive, be healthy, and just like we do. Just like trees, people also need food, shelter. You need a bed, right? You need a table maybe, something like that. You don't need rain on your face. That's not a good way to sleep. We need love and care and community too. Do you know what community is? Like a neighborhood? Yeah. You need people around you who like you and you like them. Don't have to love them 100%, but as long as you all get along, you need people. You need other people to live and be happy, right? Yeah, living by yourself, not so good. But people need things like love, care, community, and support. And that's where the church comes in. It takes more than just this building to help us thrive, which means live good lives, thrive. Church is a place where we can receive love and support from many people so we can reach our full potential, which means living our best life. It's a big word. Okay, it takes everyone, you, me, your parents, Reverend Chris, your teachers, everybody in the choir, who are usually sitting over there. But all the people we named, we work together to make a fertile soil, to make a healthy planet, a healthy place to live. And that helps everybody in the church grow and learn and find meaning in life and thrive, which again means live your best life, thrive, live happy. We, the people of this congregation, are like the water, the sunlight, the air, and the nutrients of the church. We nurture the church, which means we take care of it so that it can be here in 100 years As we go forward throughout the church year, let us be reminded to support and nurture one another. What do you think that means? That means be there for a friend, be nice, listen, that kind of stuff, you think? You think anything else? Nah. That's a what? No. Okay, I thought you said no. Like what? Okay. Okay, so that we can become the mighty oaks that will be around a long, long time. Does that make sense? Okay. No, it doesn't. Okay. So, if we work together as a community to help each other and be good to each other, that means we'll all live a lot longer because we'll be happier, right? And we make sure we all have air and water and friendship and teachers. And we become students and we learn things and make our brains grow and glow. Everything good. Everybody lives longer when they're happier, right? Does that make sense now? Okay, good. All right. Thank you for being part of this Time for All Ages. Now let's sing you out to your classes. Okay.
May your mind be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your heart know love and your hands do the work of justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
The offering we take each Sunday isn't just a stale habit. It's an opportunity to recommit to this place and to this people. Our offering is an affirmation, a yes. When we give, we say yes to something we value. With our gifts freely given, may we say yes to the values of our faith. May our offering help us practice Unitarian Universalism within and beyond our congregation as tools to empower our mission to welcome radically, love boldly, grow spiritually, and serve courageously. We will now receive an offering for your support of this religious community and its work in the world. You are invited to give generously and joyfully as you are willing and able. The offering will now be joyfully given and received. Our first reading is from Richard Gilbert. It's hard to know when to respond to the seductiveness of the world, when to respond to its challenge. If the world were merely seductive, that would be easy. If it were merely challenging, that would be no problem. But I arise in the morning torn between the desire to improve the world and a desire to enjoy the world. This makes it hard to plan the day. It's from E.B. White. I rise in the morning torn between the desire to save the world or to savor it, to serve life or to enjoy it, to savor the sweet taste of my own or to share the bitter cup of my neighbor, to celebrate life with exuberant step or to struggle for the life of the heavy laden. What am I to do when the guilt at my bounty clouds the sky of my vision? When the glow which lights my every day illuminates the hurting world around me? To savor the world or save it? God of justice, if such there be, take from me the burden of my question. Let me praise my plenitude without limit. Let me cast from my eyes all troubled folk. No, you will not let me be. You will not stop my ears to the cries of the hurting and the hungry. You will not close my eyes to the sight of the afflicted. What is that you say? To save, one must serve. To savor, one must save. The one will not stand without the other. Forgive me in my preoccupation with myself and my concern for my own life I had forgotten. Forgive me, God of justice. Forgive me and make me whole.
Our Soul Matters theme this month at Horizon is heritage, and the last 2 weeks I've been talking about different aspects of the theme, but one of the implications of heritage is that history builds upon itself, that there will be a world that inherits the one we leave behind. After all, if heritage exists because there was a world that created it, a future not yet seen that in many ways exists because they existed. We're going to talk a little more about ancestry in a few weeks, but suffice it to say we are the result of many people and other living beings, both known and unknown, who simply, by living their lives, created the possibility of existence. All of this presumes that there will be a future. And if you've ever studied metaphysics in a philosophy class, you know that philosophers disagree if there's going to be a future or not. But heritage can't be heritage without someone to take on the mantle for future generations again. In fact, it becomes just history, and history to be discovered by some future civilization. For many cultures of the past, the goal was to live in such a way that will allow future generations to exist, to live in a way so that they would be good ancestors to those who came after them. After all, like it or not, we as a society will be judged by future generations, by how we decide to live life in the present. Our actions create an inheritance for others that will assure our heritage is one of life, love, and of thriving. The problem today is that's not the focus of dominant society. Dominant society is more focused on the here and now. In fact, much of our capitalist society is designed to provide as much comfort as possible to a very few people. Don't get me wrong, not everyone is comfortable, and many face challenges because of oppression and marginalization. And yet, if you consume any media, you're likely bombarded with messages daily about how all that matters is happiness in the present. One of the books that's been the most influential on me has been Eileen Christ's Abundant Earth, because she convincingly makes the case that this is all by design. American society is so focused on short-term pleasure that we barely have enough time to think about anything else. And we put all of the concerns of the world in competition with each other. With so many of us having an abundance of choices today, it's hard to think of what will happen in an hour, much less what the next generation will inherit. And if you've been watching the news the past few weeks, you know that what will happen in the future can change very rapidly. Today's philosophy, I want to make the case, is not just that we have a right, but an imperative to be happy and comfortable all the time, and that the earth is ours to do with as we please, so we can achieve our potential. In other words, anthropomorphism becomes not just the norm, but a necessity, because in order to truly believe that I have the right to use the world and her riches without consequence, I have to believe that I'm more important, maybe even the most important part in the world, and my needs are supreme to anything else. Christ calls this human supremacy. The idea that the earth was made for humans, that it is ours to do with as we want to anytime, and that we don't have to think about the consequences of our actions, because there will always be more and more and more stuff when we run out of things that we've already used. What human supremacy leads to is a world damaged by humans using things without thought for the future. Deforestation, overmining, factory farms, overhunting, and overfishing become a way of life. Humans thus develop an insatiable appetite for more things to keep us from stopping to think whether the modern human lifestyle truly makes us happy. As Roman Krasniak, author of The Good Ancestor, puts it, in an incredibly short period of time, we have endangered a world that took billions of years to evolve. We are just a tiny link in the great chain of living organisms, so who are we to put all of it in jeopardy with our ecological blindness and deadly technologies? Don't we have an obligation, a responsibility to our planetary future and the generations of humans and species to come? Environmental destruction isn't the only evidence around us that something is deeply wrong. Christ believes that human supremacy is the prerequisite for other systems of oppression and marginalization. After all, if I'm able to rationalize the destruction of the world, that I have supremacy over it, it becomes much easier to justify hierarchies of humans and systems such as white supremacy, patriarchy, hetero and cis normativity, unrestrained capitalism, and ableism. The root of these systems is an entitlement that some people deserve to have a lot simply because of who they were born, at the expense of others. That there isn't enough to go around, and that some people just deserve it more than others. And that's what this modern living is really about satiating that hunger, that feeling that there isn't enough, that feeling that we don't have what we need in every moment of life. Now, there's nothing wrong with being happy. I quite like being happy. And I'm not advocating going back to a time before modern technology. I recognize the revolutions in human flourishing that our modern age brought. But the consequences are that we teeter on an unprecedented disaster, the likes of which we've never seen before. thoughtless destruction of the natural world means that our earth, our one and only home, now hangs on what we do next. Human supremacy means that humans may soon go extinct unless we can find ways to live in balance with the world again. I love the natural world. I love hiking and seeing the beauty of this planet. To imagine myself as the last or even one of the last generations who will get to experience the beauty of this planet is heartbreaking. When I go hiking, I know deep within my heart that humans were not meant to dominate this planet, but to live in cooperation with it. It's not that we can't use things that we get from the earth. After all, each of us would starve if we didn't eat something of the living beings, whether they be plants, animals, or fungi, who share the planet with us. And we won't live for long without drinking its water. But we have to find another way, or there will be no heritage to leave behind. This is tough. These are the days, as our first reading suggested this morning, where I must choose whether to save the world or savor it. And maybe it's my savoring that convinces me to save it, because as Potawatomi author Robin Wall Kimmerer reminds us, to love a place is not enough. We must find ways to heal it. These ways most of us in the Western world have been raised with, they become so natural that many of us, myself included, find it hard to think of any other way. And I find myself taking my own overconsumption for granted on a daily basis. But I'm convinced that if we're to live the world to another generation, it is imperative that we find ways to live in balance with the earth and her creatures. In many ways, perhaps, maybe we need to recover old wisdom to live for more than just the present. We take time now to honor the sorrows and joys of this community, knowing that we are all interconnected and that what affects one affects us all. Just this morning, shortly before I came up here, I received an email that John Myers is in the hospital. He has pneumonia and he's pretty, and Bobby says that he's pretty weak, so she suspects it will be several days before they discharge him. I don't have any other information at this time other than she wanted it shared. A sorrow from Deb for all affected in Israel and Palestine. May the leaders of the world move towards peace, and talking person to person and away from war is the way to resolve the Palestine-Israel question. A joy from Evie Sutton, sharing the joy that was a successful women's retreat filled with sisterhood and community. And I have multiple joys about the Horizon players. One just marked the Horizon players. The Horizon players send huge thanks to everyone who helped on stage, off stage, and in the audience that made our play, everyone, a rousing success this weekend. And a joy from death. Thank you for Horizon players for doing a great job. If you weren't there, Death was a character in the play and is one of our members here this morning. So Death did not make an appearance to make that joy. We light one more candle this morning to honor all the joys and sorrows which have gone unspoken and reside only in our hearts. Please join me in the spirit of prayer or meditation in whatever way feels right with these words from David O. Rankin. After the reading, we'll have a space of silence, which will be broken by our responsive hymn, number 1058 in the Till hymnal, Be Ours a Religion. A religion that promises a life without tension, a life without conflict, a life without suffering is a religion of passivity, a religion of mediocrity, a religion of insignificance. Everything worth doing in the world is a desperate gamble, a game of chance where nothing is certain. What is love? Is it not a wild and sublime speculation that can end in ecstasy or in despair? What is courage? Is it not a hazardous risk of fortune that can end in victory or defeat? What is adventure? Is it not a blind leap in the dark that can end in joy or disaster? What is faith? Is it not a prayerful flip of the coin that can end in heaven or hell? If I refuse to play the game, if I refuse to risk myself, if I refuse to throw the dice, I am never really alive. I am then only flesh, baking in the sun on a middling plateau with no view of the valley and no road to the peak. Blessed be.
Be ours a religion which like sunshine goes everywhere, its temple all space, its shrine the good heart, its creed all truth, its ritual works of love. I know a millionaire who's burdened down with care. A load is on his mind. He's thinking of the day when he must pass away and leave his wealth behind. But I haven't any gold to leave when I grow old. Somehow it passed me by. I'm very poor, but still I leave a precious will when I must say goodbye. I leave the sun dreamers. I leave the songbirds to the blind. I leave the moon above to those in love. When I leave the world behind. When I leave the world behind. The world behind.
I came in and heard him practicing that today and thought, why did I start the second part of my sermon with song lyrics? I am not going to try to beat that. Sha la 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 la, live for today. Sha la 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 la, live for today. And don't worry about tomorrow. Hey, hey. So goes the chorus of the classic grassroots song, Let's Live for Today, which proposes that people should live in the here and now, not worry about things that may or may not happen in the future, a quite fitting anthem for the hippie era. And it could well be called the anthem of that generation. And it endures as a staple of classic pop music, because I believe it offers a message that resonates with many people. In an age when more and more are despairing for the future of our planet and our species, why not live for today? Indeed, that seems to be the reason why so many are drawn to Eastern religion, so much so that Buddhism is the fastest growing religion in America right now. A sense that they're focused on the present rather than the future, as Christianity and Islam seem to be. This is epitomized in the title of the late Ram Dass's book, Be Here Now, which has been read by countless seekers over the years. But let's face it, if I was truly living for the present, I'm going to be honest with y'all, I wouldn't have gotten out of bed this morning. We currently live in an epidemic of present-only thinking, which is so evident in the way things are going in the world. And that's not always a good thing. As Roman Krasniak put it, at this moment in history, the dominant force is clear. We live in an age of pathological short-termism. Politicians can barely see beyond the next election or the latest opinion poll or tweet. Businesses are slaves to the next quarterly report and the constant demand to ratchet up shareholder value. The present has become in many ways an idol, offering promises of comfort and happiness in the short term while thinking little about long-term effects. I want to complicate matters even further, for as David O. Rankin reminded us this morning, a religion that promises a life without tension, a life without conflict, a life without suffering is a religion of passivity, a religion of mediocrity, a religion of insignificance. I want to propose that any religion that isn't future-looking isn't worth its muster. This is how we got into the mess we're in, because humans are very good at looking at our present comfort and pleasure without thinking much about what it will mean. If you have any doubt, just stick 3 ice creams before a kid and tell them they should only eat 1 right before bed. Even many people who call themselves Christians and Muslims fall into this category. And I'm convinced that if religion is to offer us a guide of where to go, we need to balance both the present and the future. Now, this idea that Eastern religions are only present focused is, in and of itself, a Western misconception. In traditions such as Buddhism, Taoism, and Jainism, the seeker is asked to focus so much on the present moment because they recognize that what we do in the present influences what happens to us in the future. We're told to focus more on our present actions because they matter so much to what the world will be, that we have the ability to shape the world for good or bad. Many faith traditions call this karma. And if you were at the Horizon Players this weekend, you got to see a reenactment of karma. I'm sorry Alex wasn't here to hear this. While some interpret karma to be some supernatural force that will drag you to hell or heaven, it is really just the result of our actions. If I throw this pen at Beth, it's likely she will flinch. She's shaking her head, please don't. That's karma. And it's also karma that she'll likely throw it back at me. Good karma means we influence the world for the better, while bad karma means that it was for the ill. The punishment of karma in the here and now is that we each must live in the world that we created with our actions. This is my radical proposal to you this morning, that short-term happiness and long-term thriving need not be in conflict. The concept of karma is useful because it helps to conceptualize how the short-term and long-term connect, and it allows for a future orientation while being in the present. A recognition that what we do now matters, while taking the present for what it is in all its ugly, gory glory. I believe that if we're able to create a sustainable future, it will be because we're able to shift our definitions of what is good, what is pleasurable, what makes us happy. I know for me, I would be happy to know not only that future generations would be able to enjoy the natural world, or to watch a Hitchcock film, or to listen to the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds album, or just to be able to see their loved ones in peace. This is the true meaning of being a good ancestor, not sacrificing our happiness for the future, but seeing our happiness as bound up in the world we leave. To be, as Krishnarik calls it, a future-oriented society that recognizes how important it is that we influence our heritage. Here's the challenge. Because sitting here agreeing with me and nodding won't change anything. How is your karma? Whether you believe in a God or gods or no God, or you're not sure, what if your life were written down in a book that's read back to you, preferably by Morgan Freeman at the end of your life? What if you arrived in the afterlife and Morgan Freeman told you how your life went? Would what you saw there convict you of doing what you could to make sure there is a future for those who come after? Of course, none of us is perfect. There's a popular phrase in left-leaning circles that there's no such thing as ethical consumption today. And I don't want us to get bound up in a sort of moralism where we flagellate ourselves for everything we don't do to make the world a better place, because I don't think that's useful either. But I do want us to be critical of how we live our lives and to see it as our very mission to make the world a better place, to heal the earth, to destroy systems of oppression, and to work for a day when we all live in peace within beloved community. Roman Krasneric says, by making wise and long choices as we emerge from this crisis, we could well become the good ancestors that future generations discover and that they deserve. And don't our children and grandchildren deserve that from us? May we be the ancestors that those who come after deserve, and may we work to build a world that is sustainable because we are happy, not in spite of it. May it be so.
We extinguish this flame, but not our commitment to welcome radically, love boldly, grow spiritually, and serve courageously. This we do because we envision a beloved community filled with compassion, helping all to thrive in a just world. I'd like to invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join us singing our closing hymn, number 6, in the gray hymnal, Just As Long As I Have Breath.
Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
Our benediction is by Don Shea Cooley. Let us go into the world singing. Let us go out into the world singing songs that proclaim liberty, songs that turn ashes into garlands, songs that bind up the afflicted and those who mourn, songs that like oaks have roots that go deep and stand strong. Let us go out into the world singing. We know these songs, they vibrate through time in our very souls. They are the songs that give us life. They are the songs that give us meaning. They are the songs that give us purpose. Now it is our turn to take these life-giving songs out into the world. Let us go now singing these songs with voices deep and strong, and may the world join us in praise and in celebration and in love. Amen. Blessed be, and go in peace.